Hi everyone. A few clients have asked me how to use Zoom to engage their teams. So a couple of clients have been leaders and are looking at using Zoom for leadership meetings, but are trying to make it a little more engaging. And then a couple of my clients are teachers and are going to be using Zoom for online lessons. And they just wanted a few insights really as to how I've used Zoom so far. I'm no expert, certainly. I've learned, like many of us have over the last 9 weeks, how to use Zoom. So I'm just going to share my learning really. There's a couple of things, I've just written down a couple of notes of things I thought would be useful to share with you. So first of all, if you're going to be looking at using Zoom and you're new to it, I would just look at what kind of account you've got access to, be it your private account that you've set up or you get an account through work. You just need to check if you've got one of the basic Zoom accounts, which is free. Or if you've got a paid for account, because that will give you more access. So that's the first thing to just double check. If you've got a basic account, that will work, but it will limit you. If you're looking to do group meetings, so more than just yourself and somebody else, you can only get 40 minutes. Now, I have heard that sometimes Zoom is kind and lets you continue, but then sometimes you get kicked off, so you can't really risk it really if you're trying to run an effective meeting. So if you're looking to have meetings longer than 40 minutes, you're going to need to get a paid account. Now, I think the cheapest paid account is about $11.99 per month, and that then gives you up to 100 people in one meeting, which is probably going to serve most of us. That's the account I pay for, and it's unlimited time. If you're just looking to use Zoom for one-to-ones, the basic account will work. You can have unlimited time for that. So that's just something to consider first of all. And I thought what I'd do with just this video is just give you an insight to the number of things that I use, and then I'll do a couple of follow-up videos just to give you a bit more detail, a bit more information into those ideas. So the 4 ways that I'm currently using Zoom to, I suppose, make my meetings and my training sessions a little bit more engaging. First of all, I'm using breakout rooms, which has worked brilliantly for my training sessions. I've not used it yet for any of my meetings. My meetings are kind of smaller, so I've not needed to use it. But I know some of my clients who have larger teams, they've put people into breakouts and it's worked really well for them. So breakout rooms I'll cover in another video. Chat box, which I'll show you really easily and quickly how to use in a second. Polls have worked really well, and also the whiteboard. So I'll show you chat and whiteboard now really quickly, and I'll do the others in a separate video. So another thing I would just point out as a little tip, because I've just noticed it about myself, when I'm doing a Zoom video, I just move my chair up a little bit if you can, just so you fill more of the screen, and just think about your background. So I always get my sides wrong, I've put that flip chart paper up on that door just so it's not as distracting for people watching as my family walk past. And I wouldn't normally have that there. That's a new one of these signs that I've just got. So I use these signs to try and hide. So behind there I've got walking boots and things up on the wall. So I just put that up. I think it's quite a nice backdrop, and I prefer that to the virtual backgrounds because you're a bit fuzzy. But I'll show you how to change the virtual backgrounds as well, actually. So at the bottom of the screen, you should see some options, and there's one that says mute, which you can use to mute yourself, and then the stop video as well. So what I say to my clients is I would suggest that you stop your video if your internet's struggling. And if I stop video, you'll just see this. You'll see the picture that I've chosen. So if you're likely that you might have to stop your video, just make sure you've got a picture that you want other people to see. It just looks a bit better. And then also there should be a little arrow next to the stop video, and there's an option saying choose virtual background. So I'll just put one on back just to show you. So that's what that looks like. And can you see it just looks a bit funny as you move? So to me, that's really distracting. So I choose not to have a virtual background and just try and manage what people can see behind me. So just try and get it to reflect what it is you want to say about yourself. try and choose a room as well that's got good light. So there's a window, you can probably see the reflection of my glasses, there's a window in front of me, so I get really good light. And I've got a door there with a window in which I just have a curtain across. Otherwise, sometimes the light can make it really difficult for people to see me. So just something to consider if you're going to be using a lot of these kind of Zoom meetings to connect. It makes a massive difference if people can see. Now, I got sidetracked there with a couple of tips, but to use the chat function, again, along the bottom you should see a menu. It depends on the device that you're using, but I would recommend, if you can, using a laptop or PC. It just makes it a bit easier to navigate around Zoom for me personally. So across the bottom there's a chat function. If you click on the chat little window, little button, you can choose to send a message to everybody or to individuals that are in your meeting. So you might be able to see that on the video, I can send a message there. So I use that within meetings just to get an insight to where people are at. If I haven't got the time to go to everybody and ask them, I'll use the chat function to do that. Something I've seen in large groups of both young people within schools and then meetings with adults, the challenge can be, if you're trying to deliver a meeting or a training session, the challenge can be trying to read the group chat as well as be congruent. So that's just something to consider. If you have the opportunity, this is really if you're managing a large meeting, if you have the opportunity to have somebody else on with you, either a co-facilitator, co-teacher, whoever that might be, maybe somebody who usually supports you in chairing your meetings, somebody who maybe takes the minutes, whatever, I would ask them to also look at the chat function and manage that. So if there's questions coming in, the questions might be coming in about how to use Zoom, you might want to use your time looking at those. So if you can get somebody else to do that, that's great. Also, a challenge I've seen with young people is they abuse the chat function. So if you're going to have the chat open, and you can disable the chat function in settings, and I'll show you more how to get into settings at the end of this video. If you're going to use it, I would make sure people are aware of the fact that the chat is actually recorded. So you can, if you choose to record your meeting or webinar like I'm doing, and you should be able to see it, it says it at the top of the screen. The chat function is also pulled out as a separate file with people's names next to it really clearly. So I would just make sure that people understand that for adults and for young people, that anything they write, they should be prepared to say that out loud. You know, it's the same thing. Just a little reminder for people. So the chat function is great. So that might be something where I'd use to get a bit of insight where I haven't got the time to ask people. And it's just a bit of a different dimension of engagement, really. The second to last thing I'm going to show you is the whiteboard. So again, along the bottom of the screen, you will have a share screen option. So I can currently share my screen, and we're going to have a look at using a whiteboard. So when I press share screen, I've got a lot of different windows, and it's all my windows that I've got open on my computer. So a tip here for you is to close any windows you don't know, just to make it easier for you to find what it is you're looking for. So one says whiteboard, so I'm just going to share that now with you. So you should now see a really white screen, and if you should have a menu where you can do text. You can change the color of that text. You can do little stamps. You can free draw, which I've used this. Some of you may have been on my sessions. I've used this to draw some kind of diagrams off the cuff if I've not got a flip chart to hand like I would normally face to face. You can then erase it as well. It's really easy to use, really. You can also free draw, which I've found is more difficult for people to use. If I find how to do that, it doesn't work quite as well. So I would encourage people to use the text if they can. But yeah, that's that. And you can highlight things as well. So you might want to say, in this particular point is really useful, because you would do that on a flip chart. So there are ways of engaging using a whiteboard, and you can set it in your settings so that this is automatically saved then into your Zoom folder, and then you can send that out maybe as a follow-up. So if I just clear all drawings, you could then start again, or you can click save. So that's the whiteboard, and to get rid of that, you'd simply click shop. Can't get my teeth in. You'd click stop share. The final thing I just wanted to show you, I'm going to share my account just to give you a bit of a starter as to where to look. So this is my home page. To change any settings, you need to look on the website. The app won't do it for you. The app's really, really basic. So if you go into your account here, hopefully you can see my account. What you need to do is go into account management and account settings. And then there's loads of different options here for you to have a look at. I would just start having a little look through these settings, because you might find what it is you want to find without even having to watch any more of my little videos. So here you go, you can see auto-saving chats you can change, you can enable polls there, you can decide who shares your screen, auto-save whiteboard, you see I've got that clicked on there. Breakout rooms as well, how to enable breakout rooms are in here. So just have a little look through your settings to see if you can change anything that suits you better. In the meantime, if there's anything in particular that you'd like to know more about Zoom, please just drop me a message, and I'll do, if I know how to do it, that is, I'll try and do a video. I've found with Zoom, things aren't that easy to find out. You just got to trawl through all the settings and try things out with other people. So please let me know if there's anything else you'd like to know. The next video I'll show you how to do polls and how to do breakout rooms, because then they, for me, have really changed my kind of online training in particular. All right, send me a message if you've got anything else in the meantime. You can email me on rebecca@rebeccacoachme.com, or contact me through my Facebook page, my Instagram, my LinkedIn, or on my YouTube channel. All right, take care, have a great day, and stay safe.